Hello and welcome everyone to this world premiere of our new PATAGONMAN documentary. I hope you're all safe and sound. I hope the same thing for your families and friends. And I really hope you are minimizing the risk by training indoors for everyone's sake. So we aim to provide some entertainment with this documentary. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it. It's really good. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone, to the people from Ice and Patagonia. We really love the region. We embrace everyone in that area, and I feel we have learned how to take Patagonia and the region in our hearts with ourselves. So we're very touched by Patagonia and by Ice, and so I want to say thank you to everyone. Thanks also to all our amazing sponsors. Without them, it wouldn't be possible to do things like this. So Tecnofast, probably the best construction company here in Chile. Aqua Chile, probably the best salmon in the world. And Dolbeck beer, probably the best beer in Patagonia. So thank you everyone. To all of our sponsors, collaborators, to all the athletes, the supports, the people who collaborate in so many different ways. So thank you very much for making this dream to so many people possible, because there's hundreds of people who are already living this PATAGONMAN adventure. And finally, I wanted to just say a couple of words about the documentary itself. This documentary, it shows our capacity as human beings to cope with the biggest imaginable challenges, and how we always find our way to succeed. It's like PATAGONMAN can seem to be such an impossible task for so many people. However, with training, with determination, with a lot of will, people get to finish, and so many people get to be finishers of PATAGONMAN. And I think it's going to be somehow, it could be the same way with coronavirus, this high risk, this big threat for humanity. But if we unite, if we try hard, if we are disciplined, and if we have empathy for the rest, I think we're going to find our way out of these tough times, because it's in our blood, it's in our genes. We do not surrender easy. So I hope this documentary brings also some hope to everyone who is having a really hard time during this coronavirus epidemic. So welcome everyone, thank you, and I hope you really enjoy this, because we put a piece of our hearts on it. Thank you, this is for you guys.
Coming to a place like Patagonia to do an extreme triathlon is is amazing, but it's also very, very raw, very brutal. I mean, you can see the fjord behind me is spectacular. The water's ice cold. There's challenging conditions on the bike. There's the wind, the fact there's no support. It's really going to be, I think, a case for me about racing myself, about competing and embracing Patagonia. The beauty of it, the rawness of it. We are at the end of the world. It is an experience like no other. It's going to be an amazing race.
Yeah, I mean, we did an incredible challenge in 2015. We did 50 full distance triathlons in 50 consecutive days through all 50 states. And one of the biggest things that I learned on the 50 was taking the enormity of the task, how big the goal is, and breaking it down into really small, manageable chunks. And being my lack of preparation and no excuses, life getting in the way, and I'm here, deep into this race, I had to rely on that experience and breaking down pieces of this race into small, really manageable pieces in order to get through it. If I looked at it as, man, I've got that whole bike ride, I've got that mountain pass, I've got to go around this, it would just overwhelm a person. And so I really learned and have honed in on the skill set to break things down and to make them very manageable so that I can continue to move and progress.
En diciembre, los hermosos parajes de Aysén recibirán a cientos de deportistas de todo el mundo que vienen a competir en el Patagonman, una competencia con las mismas distancias de un Ironman, pero en condiciones extremas para el nado, ciclismo y trote.
I come from Taiwan. Yeah, it's a little bit of a country, and now I'm feeling very cool down and very peaceful. Because I'm training for almost 1 year.
I mean, if they change up the swim course to the one that I didn't do last year, if I swim towards the wrong buoy or the wrong light, getting a flat on the bike, more things I can't control than my fitness. I'm definitely ready for that from that standpoint.
Un año totalmente distinto al año pasado. La temperatura del agua está buena, las condiciones de marea están buenas, el viento está muy calmo, así que por primera vez vamos a ir por el plan A de Patagonia. Estamos muy emocionados.
Race morning, woke up, and surprisingly I was really, really calm. The weather was perfect, and so I think that really helped everybody's nerves. But I knew the water was going to be super cold, and so you can't get too far ahead of yourself and you start thinking about those elements that you can't control and you can start to freak out. And so for me, I just kind of took in the moment with my wife that we were at the start line, and I knew that the day was going to be challenging. And so I was just trying to stay calm for what was about to happen.
My fear is to think about people that is not here now. This is my fear. Well, the week before I left for Patagonia, I went to see my dad in the hospital. Lung cancer, colon cancer, and when I told him I was coming to do an extreme triathlon here, he said, "I want to come with you." And I said, "Well, Dad, in your condition, there's no way that you can do that." I gave him a hug, left the hospital, came to do this trip. I knew that he was going to be okay. And on Friday, when I was chasing my luggage because of the lost luggage and all of this stuff, coming back from the airport, at one point I called to my dad and I said, "Dad, you wanted to be here with me. Why don't you come?" And like less than 5 minutes later, my sister texted me from Canada and said, "Dad has just passed." And at that time, I felt that he had just come to visit me and to be with me for this journey. And on Sunday, the calmness that I felt on the ferry, the calmness that I felt in the water, was definitely him being with me.
Athletes, the ferry is reporting. Patagonia 2019 is starting. Nos vamos, comienza la segunda edición de Patagonia.
Ahora pensando en la Patagonia, que me acepte.
Felicidad gigantesca de que estamos una vez más acá.
Yeah, on the ferry, I just had this kind of oh crap moment, because as soon as we started to pull away, I was like, there is no turning back at this point. And you start looking around and all the athletes have this panicked look on their face, and they are in that same oh crap moment where they realized they can't get off this boat except for by jumping in the freezing cold water.
It's stupid, but the orange buoy with the light in it, like you really felt like, yes, I'm part of this extreme experience. And you know, like you feel special, you feel like a pro, you know, and you know there's pros in the race and stuff, you know, you say, I'm one of them, I'm part of this. You know, there's only 250 people maybe that did this race. You know, that's not many on this planet.
But the Navy ship has to be on your left-hand side. Don't go out too far. Don't go around it. No vayan alrededor del barco de la Armada, por favor. ¿Está claro? If it's clear, please raise your hand. If you understand it, please raise your hand.
You know, for me, 2017 was a fantastic year. I'd won my first 3 races. I got 3rd at the World 70.3 Champs. I'd just broken the Ironman World Records. I was going to Kona, the World Championships, you know, in great spirits. Physically, I was ready, and unfortunately, I got hit by a car, and my neck was broken. And that's what really drove me to come back and try and race again. It was that desire to do something I love, something I've raced my whole life, and that with the support of my wife, my family, my friends, but also the triathlon community, how they got behind me and encouraged me to keep going, to keep fighting. That's what really drove me. It was for me focusing on the process. You know, every day I'd try and do something a little bit a little bit more. Eventually I was on the exercise bike for 5 minutes, and then 6 minutes, then maybe only 5 minutes because it was a bit too much. But it was the small steps that really motivated me to try and come back and, you know, try and fight for a podium in any race I do. It was tough. I mean, I've never raced like that. I race, you know, in the daylight. I can see all the buoys that I have to swim to. It was definitely, I wouldn't say fear, but anxiety. There was that fear of the unknown. So there was fear of, you know, it was a unique swim. And once I jumped in, I felt a lot calmer because I was in my element. For me, I was in the water. You know, then I turned on my race mode and I was waiting for the ferry horn to go so I could really start racing.
And the absolute worst part of swimming in the freezing fjord is the first 5 minutes. And when you put your face in, it's this internal battle and dialogue that you have with yourself. Put your face in, keep it in there, but it hurts so bad that you want to take it out, but you know you have to leave it in so that the pain can be frozen away. And so once you get past that initial shock and takes your breath away, then it starts to be a beautiful swim.
Even though the hands were cold, the rest of my body felt this warmth inside. Every time I looked, I wanted to take another breath to look at the mountains and look at the scenery and take all of that in with me for forever. You know, this will be part of my souvenir album in my head and in my heart.
So the challenges of being a minority female in a fire department, I was on a department where there was no other females, and I was a lieutenant in charge of about 8 males on my shift, and it wasn't a very good time for me. It was a lot of emotional attacks on me, barriers that they would put in forth. They would not let me promote to a captain because I was a female, and it was very frustrating. Personally, I think I got a lot of strength from that, which has helped and transferred into the triathlon to keep you going, because honestly every day was a challenge. I was mentally worn out from, we worked 24-hour shifts. I did the full triathlon with all of the gear, including the inside liners, which adds a whole nother dynamic of intensity to wearing the turnout gear in the heat, because it raises your heart rate so much. I personally think, though, those challenges that I had to endure in the fire service just made me more of a stronger woman, that I'm going to show, hey, yeah, we can do this, we're equal.
so cold.
If you're in there too long, it becomes, oh man, now I'm really starting to get cold. And then you start to have those conversations with yourself and maybe start to panic, and I've been in the water too long and now I'm starting to get cold. And really those conversations is what you have to control.
Even though I can have PTSD, males can have PTSD in the fire service, but we're all the same. We should be helping each other and building everybody up stronger together. And I honestly feel like that on a triathlon, especially here in Patagonia. I saw that a lot. I've never had more males pass me on the bike and say, hello, Diana, and how are you doing, or keep going. To me, that was fascinating, that here these super athletes, males, and I'm average age grouper, and these guys are cheering me on to keep going. That was a great part of the race for me, because I appreciated that.
Bike was tough. It was crazy. You can look at a profile online and you can think at what it's going to be, but those little ups and downs on a computer screen look nothing like when you're on your bike on the road, and the hills just kept coming and hitting you, and you would think, okay, great, I get a nice reprieve from that big climb, and you don't, because this is an extreme triathlon, and the conditions are extreme and the roads are extreme, and you've got to be paying attention and looking at the conditions and everything that's happening. And so there really was no reward other than the view. But this bike was spectacular, but it was equally as challenging and daunting. If you want to do this type of race, if you want to come to the Patagonia, man, you better put some time in the saddle. You've got to put some time into your strength and your power. You will not make these cutoffs if you're not strong enough on the bike.
You know, for me, racing from the front is an amazing, beautiful thing, but also it's hard because you are on your own. You get paranoid. I get paranoid about pushing people. Are people catching me? Someone says, no, you have a big lead. Is a big lead 2 minutes or is a big lead 22 minutes? And you know, that's the fear that drives you to keep pushing. But then you push too hard and you blow up and your race falls apart.
Down on the ground and I put my hands in my face and said, I can't do it, I can't continue.
Yeah, I wanted to quit 5,000 times.
My nutrition plan kind of was not really where I wanted it to be. I lost power, I lost energy, and then we got some very strong headwind, and that was the toughest part of the bike.
control the weather. I cannot control the environment. I cannot control my competitors, but I can control how I am. If you think about the whole race, it's too much mentally for me. So we had to focus on the start of the swim, getting to the first buoy, then focus on transition, the flat part of the bike course, the climb into town, then across the plains, and then you hit the real tough climb.
So I fly for Alaska Airlines. I fly 737s around the state of Alaska and the lower 48. And 2.5 years ago, I donated my kidney to one of our flight attendants. I did not know her. She sent out an email to our work group asking if anybody would be willing to donate a kidney, and that was O positive. I'm O positive. I answered the call, and she's now living a normal life, and I am too. So we call it the gift of life or living kidney donation. And you have 2 and you can share your spare. She has 3 children and she lives a normal life, and I do normal activities like PATAGONMAN to test the limits of the human endurance on 1 kidney.
Yeah, the run, it rivaled the views of the bike. I mean, you think you've taken it all in, and then you get to the run, and this run, man, it starts out tough.
Up and up and up and never ending S's going up.
The most technical extreme trail that I've ever seen.
Just when you think you've done the last mountain, there's another mountain to do.
There's no one out there. You are running on your own, round these lakes, these mountains. It is a surreal run. You have to run it to totally believe how crazy and awesome it is.
It was an unbelievable run course, and what I loved about this too is they brought your support person in, which again was my wife, to run the last 12K with you.
I have to swim 3.8 kilometers in cold water. I've got to ride 180K on the bike, climbing up, and then running 30K to join my wife, to find her again, and to spend the rest of my life with her.
But every step up the mountain, you turn around and there's this glorious valley of view that was just breathtaking.
The sun, oh man, the sun came out. I burnt my arms, my neck. It really is 4 seasons in one day, and the running is where it can really catch you out. The finish line was tough. We we turned off the gravel and Gavin says, yeah, we've got 1 kilometer to the finish line. And I was like, brilliant. I looked at my watch. I said, Gavin, we've done 900 meters. I cannot see this finish line. And I'm saying, look behind. Can you see anyone? Can you see anyone? And he's like, no, no one's coming. I'm saying, are you sure? Are you sure? I cannot run any quicker. I really can't. And then we kind of crested and slowly you can see the gazebos, the tents. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you, the finish line is there. And then when we got there, these wooden gates opened and I saw the bell and I was like, oh my God, total relief. It was, yeah, it was something that I can't explain for me because I'd been through so much on my own and no one had seen what I'd had to do because I was on my own. And, it was relief. It was, yeah, it was euphoria, yeah, it was happiness, yeah, but mostly relief.
Unbelievable. It's like you're there and you don't think it's real. It's like a movie. And the other would just be the people. Like I've never been to an extreme triathlon that has support like this, helpers like this. It was so special and so kind, and I just loved it.
Extremely happy to finish because I suffered really a lot, but it was an amazing race and it's a privilege to participate and it's a privilege to finish. It's a hard race to finish.
Let me tell you, this is the place to come. This is where you want to reach your limits. And it is the end of the world. It is far. And there's no bananas in Chile. So I did not have my bananas on the bike and on the run. But you know what? I recommend this race. But don't bring your bananas because you just can't.
I'm coming back here because it's awesome. The whole race is just really awesome.
Patagonman means grit, resilience. It means taking you on a journey. And that pretty much sums it up. If you want to grow mentally and physically, you need to come do Patagonman.
And by then you're ready to cry and quit, but you just keep going. It's just an unbelievable race. Unbeatable.
Patagonman for me is a triathlon like no other. It makes you dig deeper than I've ever digged before in a race, mentally, physically, preparation-wise as well. You have to be on your A game. You have to have a plan coming here, otherwise it'll chew you up and spit you out. For me, Patagonman is raw triathlon.